We humans often talk about work-life balance, which popularly means separating work from our personal lives. But an average human spends a quarter of her life at work. And what happens at work does not necessarily stay at work. A bad work day spills into our personal space. We stay up at night wondering where we went wrong. An altercation at work takes a toll on your dinner plans. We sulk and crib instead of enjoying our time out. A stern email from the boss spoils our weekend. We replay its words in our head over and over again. Now imagine what being humiliated at work or being exposed to constant negativity at work could do to our lives. Hello and welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay. Over the years, you and I have gone the extra mile to flush toxicity out of our lives. We exercise, we eat clean, so that our bodies can be free of toxic chemicals. We spend the extra buck on organic ingredients, so that our food can be free of toxicity. We've begun keeping those house plants, so that the air in our home can be clean. Why haven't we cleaned our workplaces too? Why haven't we flushed toxicity out of our offices? Just like toxic chemicals, a toxic workplace too can kill us. It can lead to heart attacks. It can and does increase our blood pressure. It reduces our immunity and makes us anxious, stressed and depressed. Many of you may be wondering what I mean by workplace toxicity. A toxic workplace is an unfriendly workplace. An office where people don't work as a team but against one another. A workplace where people gossip, play blame game, where employees pull each other down or steal credit for another person's work. A workplace is toxic, where employees are more focused on impressing the boss than doing a good job. A workplace is toxic, where employees fight. And I'm not talking about professional debates. Those are healthy and productive. But getting personal is not. Abusing each other is not. Keeping nicknames is certified toxicity. A workplace is toxic where there is groupism, favoritism, nepotism, also a culture of overworking. A workplace is toxic where stress is glorified, where working through weekends is normalized, where spending extra hours in office is celebrated, where an employee is almost always given no credit for her work, but mistakes are called out loud and clear. A workplace is toxic if the boss has a short fuse, if he insults, brands you as good for nothing, sometimes even questions your education and worth. Does this sound like a place you may know? Or does it sound like a place you currently work for? Have you been told that such environment at work is absolutely normal? You know, it happens. There will be better days. Offices are always like that. It's normal. Well, guess what? It's not. It's not normal. It is toxic. Toxic work culture can ruin your career. It can ruin your health, your mental well-being, and your time outside work. So allow me to think aloud when I say, why have we normalized toxic work culture? Why haven't we cleaned our workplace? Why haven't HRs done more to ensure that everyone at work is treated with respect, irrespective of his or her position? Studies say an organization is as much responsible for toxic work culture as its employees. Experts believe negativity at work flows from the top. If the boss is toxic, his subordinates are likely to follow suit. If a manager abuses his authority, uses fear to maintain control, lacks empathy, humiliates people, embarrasses people, sets impossible deadlines, refuses to listen, sees constructive feedback as an attack, turns trivial things into a full-blown crisis, passes cruel comments, and gets away with all of this, then he sets the wrong example. He signs an unwritten code that toxicity will go unpunished. Then mid-level managers start refusing to take ownership because they are scared of humiliation. Juniors pin the blame on one another because they are scared of being reprimanded or of losing their jobs. And the cycle continues, and it starts another cycle of gossip, rumors, peer pressure, and backstabbing. Employees start viewing each other as threats, not collaborators. They become afraid to speak up or to ask for help. Do you know what this does? It stunts your professional growth. People working in toxic environments do not grow, just like our house plants. Keep them in a dark place and they will not bloom. They will slowly wither and die. We humans too are a product of our environment. If we spend too much time in a toxic environment, we come back home feeling anxious. We have nightmares about making mistakes at work, about being humiliated. We are anxious about going to work the next morning. Eventually, we start questioning our self-worth. We start believing that we really must be good for nothing. A toxic work culture does all of this to you. And sadly, it has been normalized. A lot of offices have normalized the culture of an inner circle. Everyone else is marked out of important emails, kept out of decision-making. It's called the clique culture, and experts list it as one of the top signs of a toxic workplace. Then there are some offices where favoritism is normalized. Undeserving people are given the best of projects, rewarded more than others. For long, we have accepted this as normal. We have put up with rude managers, and here's what it has done to us. The Journal of Occupational Health Psychology says employees who had negative reactions to their bosses had high blood pressure, and it lingered well into the night. Harvard Business Review claims that toxicity at work has put people at the risk of heart attacks or other life-threatening cardiac conditions. It also reduces your immunity. And I'm not making this up. A person working in a toxic environment is more likely to be depressed, anxious, or suffering from insomnia. It also affects your social interaction because you become very negative in your outlook. It hurts your health. It also hurts your career. 78% of employees believe that toxic co-workers hit the morale of the entire team. 17% say such colleagues increase their stress and reduce their productivity. It's not like people are not aware of this. Today, everyone knows that toxicity takes a toll on an employee's mental health. But most top bosses have not done very much about it because their priority has always been deadlines and targets. How those targets are being met, that does not matter much. What employees are being subjected to, that does not matter much. Over the years, as competition grew, so did the toxic work culture. In 1998, 49% employees said that they were treated rudely at least once a month. In 2011, that number became 55%. In 2016, it was 62%. There's another word for toxicity. It's called workplace incivility. It refers to a subtle form of negative behavior, mostly characterized by rudeness or disrespect. McKinsey & Company defines it as the accumulation of thoughtless actions that leave employees feeling disrespected. It's another story that McKinsey itself is accused of harboring a toxic work environment. Look at what an employee wrote on Glassdoor. Toxic work environment, managers view employees as tools to produce client deliverables and nothing more. This is the reality of most workplaces today. In 2015, New York Times ran a lengthy piece on Amazon's toxic work culture. Let me read out some lines for you. At Amazon, workers are encouraged to tear apart one another's ideas in meetings, toil long and late. Emails arrive past midnight, followed by text messages asking why they were not answered, and held to standards that the company boasts are unreasonably high. The internal phone directory instructs colleagues on how to send secret feedback to one another's bosses. Employees say it is frequently used to sabotage others. Today, 75% of employees say that their work manager is the worst part of their day. 65% of American employees would rather have a new boss than a raise. Employees should take a close look at these numbers. They need to wake up to the problem of toxic work culture, and I will show you why. An unhappy workplace directly hits a company's output. Harvard Business School conducted a study. This is what they found. At least 25% of those who experienced bad behavior at work took it out on their clients. 48% employees intentionally decreased their work effort and spent less time at work. 78% employees said that their commitment to their organization had declined, and 66% said that their performance had declined. Earlier, people would stick it out, stay at toxic workplaces because there were limited opportunities and a long list of bills to pay, student loans to repay, families to feed. Today, there are more vacancies than applicants. People are quitting their jobs more than ever before. I've spoken to you about the Great Resignation. Let me now tell you what a recent survey has found. A company culture is likely to influence resignation 10.4 times more than salary. Tesla and Netflix recently saw more resignations than other companies in their respective sectors. Experts say toxicity driven by a highly competitive environment may be the reason. But how long can you stay in this competition if talented workers leave you because of workplace politics? The net output will fall. And as attrition rises, the company's reputation will also fall. I know a lot of companies are doing their bit to maintain a friendly environment. They're conducting internal surveys, taking feedbacks. But are these initiatives truly free of judgment and bias? Weeding out workplace toxicity needs to be coded into HR policy. As we enter the annual drill of reviews and appraisals, companies must remember that getting rid of toxicity is only as important as counting punch-ins and punch-outs.